All right, so in part 3, these are the steps we are going to be working on. We're going to start off with creating the scene manager. Then we're going to go ahead and add the ability for upgrades for our weapons and tools. Then we're going to go ahead, create the doors for our player so we can go up and down the mine. And then last, we're going to do a final cleanup. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's go ahead and get started on the scene manager script. So let's go ahead and create that. We're going to right click over here, create empty. We're going to go ahead and rename this scene manager. All right, go ahead and make sure that Z value though is set to 0. All right, let's go ahead and add that script to this. So add component. And if you remember, we've been calling this throughout the game. I think it was just called scene manager script. Go ahead, let's create that new script. Create and add. Let that load. All right, let's go double click it to pop it open. All right, so we're going to be adding a couple things in here. Right underneath this little message, let's go ahead and start adding the variables. So let's go ahead and start off with a public int. We're going to call this current number, semicolon. Below that, we're going to go ahead and do a public int. We're going to call this coin count, semicolon. Below that, we're going to go ahead and do a public game object. Let's go ahead and call this hammer upgrade. All right, semicolon. Let's go ahead, do another public game object. Let's go ahead and do this one as sword upgrade. All right, semicolon. And looks like I forgot the capital U here. You can do that if you want. All right. Now below that, let's go ahead. We're going to do a public bool. I'm going to call this new sword. And at first, we're going to go ahead and equal it to false, just like that. For the next one, we're going to go ahead and do, again, public bool, new hammer. Awesome. Let's go ahead, equal that to false, semicolon. All right, below that, we're going to go ahead and do some public game objects again. This one here, I'm going to call scene 0, semicolon. And then again, we're going to do a public game object, scene 1, semicolon. All right. And then the last one we're going to add is a public. And this one is going to be a TMP underscore capital T text. And then we're going to call this coin text. Now it's going to be read here because we need to import a package. So let's go at the top. We're going to do using. And this is going to be TMP Pro, just like that. Okay. Make sure you have that there with a semicolon. All right. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and add some steps now. So we're going to start off in the void update. All right, in the void update, we're going to go ahead and do coin text dot lowercase text equals coin count dot capital T to string and then an empty set of parentheses because we're going to be converting this coin count int to a string, which is going to output to the coin text. Awesome. All right, below that, we're going to go ahead and add an if statement. So if, within parentheses, current room number. What do we call it? The current number or current room number? I think we did current number. Go ahead and add room to that just to make it easier to understand. Current room number. And again, we're going to add it here. Current room number, wherever that is. There we go. Current room number equals 0. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a scene 0 dot set active. And then we're going to set that to a true. Awesome. And then we're going to go ahead and do a similar one for the scene 1, except we're going to set this one to false. just like that. Awesome. All right, looking good. Now below that if statement, let's go ahead and add another one. Do an if, parentheses, go ahead, current room number. If that current room number equals 1, let's go ahead and reverse these. So then we're going to set 0 to false and then 1 to true. So I'm going to copy each of those and just switch out this one to false and then this one to true. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that there. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and make some more functions. So below the void update, we're going to add one here. This function is going to be a public void. We're going to go ahead and call this add coin. Give it some empty parentheses, open it up with some brackets. All right. So in here, we're going to add some things. Let's go ahead and add just coin count. And all we're going to do is add 2 pluses, which adds 1 to the current one. That's all we want. Perfect. Let's go ahead and create another function below that. I'm going to call this public void. And this function is going to be by hammer. All right. Some parentheses. Let's go ahead and open that up. All right. In here, we're going to go ahead and do an if statement. Some parentheses. We're going to say if coin count is greater than or equal to 10. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do hammer upgrade dot set active to true semicolon. And then we're also going to go ahead and do new hammer. And we're going to go ahead and just equal that to true as well. Awesome. Semicolon. Perfect. Make sure you got that one. Now we're going to do the one for the sword. So go ahead and copy the whole thing. And I'm simply just going to paste this below. Instead of by hammer, we're going to do by sword. And we're going to go ahead, keep that the same for the coin count. We're going to change the hammer upgrade to sword upgrade. Set active to true. Perfect. And then new sword to true as well. Awesome. Oop, looks like I didn't like it. New sword. There we go. All right, perfect. So far, so good. Make sure you have all that in there. Go ahead and save that. Control S. Awesome. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the game. Let that load. We might get an error because we haven't set anything. Don't worry about that for now. Awesome. All right. So before we start that, let's go ahead and create the coin real quick. It's very easy. Let's go to our art. Let's go ahead and find what we want to use for the coin. And I'm simply going to go ahead and just use this little circle object right here and make it yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop this into the game. Let's go ahead, make this bigger. I'm going to do a 6. 6. Now that's a little big, so maybe I'll shrink it. I might do a 4 and a 4 for that. Let's go ahead and change the color to yellow. So turn the wheel to color of yellow. And there you go. Now it looks more like a coin. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. Now let's go ahead and give this coin a box collider 2D. So box collider 2D. Make sure the box is attached to the coin. Not too big. I'm going to shrink it a little bit. Awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and create a coin script real quick. It's a very small one, but useful. Call this coin script. Go ahead, create that, add it, let it load. Might open up your Visual Studio, maybe not. All right, go ahead, double click coin script. Let's open that up. Awesome. So let's go ahead and add what we need here. Super simple. Simply at the top, we're just going to add one variable, a public variable. We're going to go ahead and add the scene manager script, and we're just going to call this scene script semicolon. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and do an on trigger again, and simply we can just get one from somewhere else, or we can go ahead and type it out. We can type it out. It's fine. So I'm just going to do under the void update, do a void on trigger enter. Enter 2D. Make sure it's 2D. All right, then in here, we're simply going to do, again, the if, parentheses, collision, dot, game object, dot, compare tag. And then we're going to go ahead, and from here, we're just going to pass in the tag we want. And I'm just going to go ahead and do player, capital P, because that's our player tag. And then I'm going to go ahead, give it some curly brackets. And in here, simply enough, I'm going to go ahead and use the scene script dot add coin function we created earlier, semicolon for that. And then, of course, we're going to go ahead and do a game object dot set active to false. Because once we collect the coin, we don't want it to be visible anymore. Awesome. All right, so far so good. Go ahead and save that. Awesome. Go back to the game. And don't worry about hitting play yet, because it will error out. In the next video, we'll go ahead and change it up. All right, that's it for this part. I will see you in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and finish up the scene manager. So let's go into our canvas that we have right here, and we're going to add a couple things. First thing we're going to go ahead and add, of course, is our coin counter, like the little text we're going to have representing the coins collected, and then also the upgrades. So let's go ahead and right-click. Let's do the text first. Go to UI. Go to the text raw mesh pro, TMP. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead simply and customize this a little bit. I'm going to stretch this out so we can view it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put my move tool over here. Let's go ahead and make this 0 for the starting value. And I'm also going to go ahead and scroll on down. I'm going to put the position all the way on the far right. I'm going to go ahead and make this yellow. There we go. And I'm going to increase the size. Let's go maybe 40. Can we do 50? Yep. Awesome. All right, let's see how that looks in game view. I like it. Easy to see. That's what I care about. I'm going to go ahead and move it up a little bit. Let's get that to a corner. Another thing we can do is anchor it. So if the screen changes sides and stuff, we can go ahead and make sure it's there. I'm going to go ahead and click that button there and then set the anchor to the far corner, just like that. Awesome. All right, I like it. Let's go ahead and keep that there for that. We can actually go ahead and change the name too. Let's call it, I'm going to call this coin text. Perfect. Hit enter. Perfect. And now let's go ahead and click on our scene manager and go ahead and find the coin text. It should be here somewhere. The coin count. Where is it? There we go. Coin text. Let's go ahead and drag and drop our coin text into there. Perfect. All right. Now let's go ahead and create the buttons now. So inside the canvas, right click. Let's go to UI again. Let's do the button text mesh pro. All right. We're going to need 2 of these, but let's make the first one first, and then we can just change it. I'm going to call this just button hammer. All right. Let's go ahead, open it up. I'm going to change the size of this. So let's go to the stretch tool. And I'm going to go ahead and just make it square for now. Is that too big? Yeah, it's a little big. I'm going to go ahead and just do that to make it a little smaller. All right. I'm going to change the current text to 10, representing how much coins it's going to cost. And I'm going to go ahead and just drag that down just like that. So it's on the bottom. All right, I like it. Then we're going to go ahead and right click on the button hammer. We're going to go to UI and then click on image. All right. And we're going to make this a little smaller. A little bit smaller just so we can fit it inside the square. I'm going to drag and drop it here. And we're going to put the image of the hammer here so the player knows what they're doing. Let's go to the art. Scroll on down. Let's find the hammer sprite. Let's drag and drop the hammer sprite into the source image. And there you go. Now, does that look good to me? We can make it a little smaller just so it's not too close to the corner in the text. All right. I like it. And we could center it easily by doing the Y value of 0. And there you go. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. I like it. All right. And another thing we could do to make it look a little nicer as well is make it see-through when it's just normally visible. So go ahead, click on the button here. Let's go ahead and go to the color. And let's go ahead and set this down a little bit to like somewhere about there at the 0.3 area. Awesome. All right, and now there you go. Looks a little better. Now let's move the entire button though. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm holding the button. And simply enough, I'm going to go ahead, take this X and hold it down and just move it across just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and move the Y value now a little bit as well, just to make it a little lower. Awesome. All right, I like it. So far, so good. And maybe we can make the text a little better looking. If we simply go down here to make the value all the way to the dark color. There we go. I wonder if we can make it bold as well. Let's go ahead. There we go. Nice. All right. That looks pretty good to me. Very simple. I like it. All right, let's go ahead and duplicate this button. So right click, duplicate it. And instead of hammer, let's call this one sword, capital S. Enter. Let's go ahead and drag the button a little bit to the right. There we go. Let's go ahead and open it up and click on the image. Let's find the sword we have, which is right here. I'm going to drag and drop the sword in there. And there we go. Awesome. All right, looking good so far. Now, of course, we want to change this when it's bought so the player knows they already got it. So to do that, simply what we can do is we can just put an image basically on top of it that's going to cover it so we can't keep buying it. So to do that, let's right click over here. We're going to go ahead and do UI, image. And simply, I'm going to go ahead and we can drag and drop the image, or I'm going to actually first give it a name. We can call it hammer bot. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and make it green, maybe a darker green, and then make it a little bit more see-through. So I'm going to bring it down. Actually, we're going to have it, yeah. Let's go ahead and make it all the way green. That's fine with me. And let's go ahead, and actually, let's not do it this way. Let's go ahead and do it another way. We're going to go ahead and drag this all the way over here. And go ahead, bring it down, and simply put it there. Maybe not as big, maybe we can shrink it a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to the scene view. Let's go to the stretch tool. And we can cover it pretty close, like that. There we go. And I am going to make it see through a little bit. Let's go ahead. Just like that. Awesome. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disable this currently. And then we're going to go ahead, duplicate this. Call this one, instead of hammer bot, we're going to call it sword bot. So let's go ahead, drag and drop, sword. All right, let's go ahead and move this whole one right. Well, actually, let's go ahead and make it visible so we can see it. And simply enough, let's go ahead and put it here. And go to the stretch points. Make sure it's on that one. There we go. On each one of those. Might have to fiddle around with this if it doesn't cover it completely. All right. Awesome. I like it. And simply enough, just make sure that these two are above the buttons. That's why it's covering it from there. All right. Awesome. Go ahead. Let's disable that one as well. I like it. All right. Another thing we can do is for each one of these, we're going to go ahead and anchor it down. So let's go ahead. Let's do the anchor, the corner piece over here. Button as well. Anchor piece to the corner. And then same thing for both of our other images. Corner and corner. Awesome. All right, looking good. I like it. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead and see what else we need to attach to our scene manager. Looks like we're missing the hammer upgrade, so let's go ahead and pass on the hammer upgrade, which is the hammer bot right here. Same thing with the sword one. Sword bot is the sword upgrade. All right, and scene 1 and scene 2, currently we don't have that right now. We can go ahead and change that in just a sec. I think we have everything else we need. All right, let's go ahead and change the ID of this to coin. We're going to call this coin. All right, now another thing we can do, which is how we're going to get everything all together basically, is we're going to create the two different scenes. So let's go ahead and create empty. We're going to call this scene 1. Or actually, it was scene 1 and 0. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to duplicate that. And this one will be scene 0. And simply enough, we can go ahead and just put this above. There we go. Awesome. And what we're going to do is we're going to put everything currently we have that we need inside scene 0, and then we'll do it the same thing for scene 1. So let's go ahead and do that. So for the coin, yep, we'll put the coin in scene 0. And actually, let me double check. I think the coin, we forgot to put a layer 1. Don't forget to do that as well. Awesome. All right, but then let's go ahead and put the rock as well in scene 0. We're going to want to put the ghost in scene 0. And map items, scene 0. Player, scene 0. And main camera also in scene 0. Awesome. All right, so make sure all that's in scene 0. You can leave all this other stuff out. It's fine. Make sure everything's in there. It should just be these things left. All right, and then let's go ahead and go to scene manager. And simply enough, we're going to go ahead and actually we're going to drag and drop each one of our items into the scene manager. One thing we forgot to check though is make sure our Z value is also empty, or a 0 basically, for both our scenes, or that'll mess up the scaling. There we go. All right, go ahead and drag and drop each scene into scene manager, just like that. Perfect. And then we can go ahead, click on scene manager, and then drag and drop each scene for here. Drag and drop scene 0 to scene 0, and then scene 1 to scene 1. Awesome. All right, I think we should be okay. Let's go ahead and try it out. Let's hit play. Awesome, looks like it's working. And as you can tell, see, scene 0 is playing first. I like it. And if we go ahead and collect the coin, looks like we had an issue. Object not referenced. I think we have to reset it because we put it all inside of another scene. Click on coin, scroll down. Yep, see, scene manager it's looking for. Go ahead and let's find that scene manager. Drag and drop. Awesome. Let's try it again. There we go. We can hit the ghost. Nope, we'll have to fix that, but for now, that's what it is. Looks like it still doesn't like our coin for some reason. No, it still doesn't like it. Oh, that's because we added it when we did it in play. So go ahead. Let's do, again, same thing. Drag and drop scene manager. Put it in there. Perfect. Hit play. All right, let's hit the ghost. Just want to go ahead and collect the coin. Yep, and see our coin has collected. Awesome. And we're still able to do everything else pretty much. Looks good to me. All right, that's it for this section. I'll see you in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and get started on the door script. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and finish up our upgrades that we can have with the coins. So to do that, let's go ahead and jump into those scripts. Pull up our Visual Studio Code again. All right, we're going to have to add a couple things in for the rock and then for the ghost. Let's go ahead and start off with the ghost. So if you remember, if we combine our player into the ghost, we're going to go ahead and initiate all this right here. But if we upgrade our current sword, then we're going to want to go ahead and add maybe less health. Maybe it's going to be 2 minus instead of 1 minus. So to add that, we're going to go ahead and add a few things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and call the script that we currently have for the main screen, so the screen manager right over here. So back to the ghost script. Did we add that? I think we did right over here. Yep. Looks like we spelled public wrong though. Let's go ahead and change that. Public. All right. Yep. And then scene manager script. Let's go ahead and make sure we have that. Yep. Scene manager script. All right. That should be like that. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead back down to where we're initiating things. And we're going to add a simple if statement inside of here. So we're going to go ahead and do an if. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a scene script dot, and then we're going to go ahead and find out whether or not the bool is set in our scene manager. So we click back to scene script, we have these new hammer equals true, and then sword equals true as well. So we got to go ahead and check to make sure if it's true or not. So let's go ahead back to the ghost script. Let's go ahead and do dot new hammer, or this is going to be new sword because we're doing the sword one first. So if the new hammer equals true, then instead we're going to go ahead and add maybe a 2 minus. So we can go ahead and copy this whole thing here, paste it here, and we're going to go ahead and do a minus equals 2 semicolon, and then at the end of this we're going to go ahead and do an else, give it some parentheses, open that up, and then put that health minus minus right back in there. Awesome. I'm going to add some spaces here to make it look a little nicer. And there we go. Let's go ahead and save that. All right, now we're going to do a similar thing for the hammer one as well. So let's go ahead and copy this whole thing we have right here. Let's go ahead into the rock for the hammer now. And again, we're doing a similar thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste this here. And let's see if we have the scene script. I think we might. Yep. Let's go ahead and make sure that's green. Yep. Awesome. And let's go ahead all down here. Instead of new sword, we're going to go ahead and change this to new hammer. And if that equals true, then of course we're going to do a -2 to health and then a regular minus health if it isn't. Awesome. Make sure to save that, Control S. Make sure you saved also in here, Control S. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead back to our game. Let that load. All right, should have loaded and test it out. Let's go ahead and just add a couple new coins. I'm going to go ahead and just click on the move tool and then Control D, Control D, Control D, and just do that a couple times until we have a lot of coins that we can go ahead and test this out. At least 10 of them should work. Awesome. Let's go ahead and hit play. I'm going to defeat the ghost real quick. Oh, looks like we're missing an object though with the ghost. New sword equals true. Doesn't like that for some reason. Did we attach it? Oh, that's because we never attached it. So let's go ahead back to the player right here. Go ahead and find that new script. I think it should be somewhere in here, or maybe it's in the ghost. Let's go ahead and click on the ghost. Yep, it should be right here. Perfect. So we got to add that. Let's go ahead and find where the scene manager is, drag and drop it into there, and we should be good. We got to turn that off. We might have to redo it. If you put something in while the game's in play, it's not going to save it. So go ahead and do that again. Hit play. All right, let's attack the ghost. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Let's go ahead and collect some coins now. All right, make sure we get up to 10. There we go. Let's go ahead and buy the rock. And that should have worked. Looks like it did not. But if we go ahead and hit the hammer, let's see what happens. Yep, it's because we didn't add the object to it again. Let's go ahead and do that as well. Let's find the rock. Let's drag and drop the scene script from scene manager. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and double check some things in the canvas to make sure we have all the right blockers here. So let's keep that open like that. Oh, you know what? I don't think we attached the button press to the buttons. Yep, we did not. They're both empty right now. All right, so we have to add that as well. And we've already made this in the past videos. So go ahead to the button sword, open up that click. Let's go ahead, drag and drop where the sword is, and I think it's in the scene manager. Go ahead, down to scene manager script, find by sword, perfect. Let's do the same thing for the hammer now. All right, drag and drop. Go ahead, scene manager, let's find the hammer one. There we go. All right, let's try again. All right, let's get rid of the ghost. There we go. Let's go ahead and collect all our coins just to get to 10. Then we go ahead and select our, there we go. Now we have our hammer. Let's go ahead and try hitting the rock, and it should disappear after one hit. And there you go. Perfect. Awesome. I like it. All right. That's it for this section. I will see you in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and get started creating the doors. So let's go ahead first and pick out a sprite that we want to use. I'm going to go ahead and use the door for down as a closed one. So let's go ahead and find that sprite. I'm going to go ahead. I think it should be up a little bit. Here we go. Let's use this one here. And again, I'm going to put it at layer 1. I'm going to go ahead and make sure the Z value is 0. And then I'm going to set it to a 6 and a 6 for the X and Y of the scale. Perfect. All right, for now, I'm just going to keep it probably right about here is a good spot. Awesome. All right, now let's go ahead and create a door script. But before we do that, remember we have to add a box collider 2D. Perfect. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and create that script now. I'm just going to call it door script. Enter. Create and add. Let that load. Might accidentally open up. Go ahead and minus that out. Let it load. And then go ahead, double click on door script. Awesome. All right. So in here, we're just going to add a few things. So right underneath that comment and above void start, we're going to go ahead and add a public int. And we're going to go ahead and call this just health. And let's go ahead. Actually, this is not health. This is going to be for door. So we're going to go ahead and use, instead of the public int first, we're going to go ahead and change that out with scene management again. Scene manager script. Just call it scene ms. Let's go ahead, semicolon. Below that, let's go ahead and do a public bool. And we're going to go ahead and call this door up, capital U. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to do a public top-down script. Let's see if I can find that. There it is. We're just going to call this the player script, semicolon. And that should be it for the variables. Awesome. Make sure you got all that in there. All right. Now, we're actually not going to be creating anything in the void start or the void update. We're going to do everything based off a trigger. So let's go ahead and create that trigger. We're going to do a void on trigger, enter 2D. All right. Inside of it, we're going to go ahead and just do an if, give it some parentheses. We're going to go ahead and do a collision dot game object dot compare tag, capital C, capital T. And then we're going to go ahead and we're looking for the tag of capital P player. All right. And then we're going to go ahead, give it some brackets, open that up. And inside of here, we're going to go ahead and make another if. Inside the if statement, we're going to go ahead and do door up equals true. And we're going to go ahead, give it some brackets. Then if door equals true, or door up equals true, we're going to go ahead and do player script dot reset player position. End it with some parentheses, just like that. Below that, we're going to go ahead and do scene ms for a scene manager script. We're going to go ahead and do dot current room number plus plus, because if we're going up, then we're going to go ahead and add. Then we're going to do an else, or we could just do another if, honestly. Just paste this down here. We're going to set this if it equals false. Then we're going to go ahead, keep the reset player position, and we're going to change the plus plus to a minus minus. Awesome. So make sure you got that in there. Perfect. And then go ahead, make sure you got your variables in there as well. Awesome. Save that. Go ahead, let's go back to the game. Let that load. All right. So now for our door, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and set the actual screen now. I think we might have already done that. Let's go ahead and close our scene 1 or scene 0. There we go. All right. This, though, we want to put inside of our scene 0. So let's go ahead, drag and drop. Let's go ahead and keep that order layer as 1. Awesome. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and actually we're going to just duplicate everything we have in scene 0 and paste it in the next one. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, quick, easy way, go ahead and select the top thing, which is going to be the rock. Go ahead all the way down to this here, which is going to be the door. And actually, we can go ahead and rename this just so we know what it is. Let's call this door down. All right, let's go ahead, click on the top one here, hold down the shift key, and then select door down, which is the bottom one. Let's go ahead and Control C. And then we're going to go ahead, click into this. And I'm going to go ahead and right click. We're going to go ahead and paste what we got. Awesome. And I don't know if that actually went in there. I think it might have. If it didn't, like this, go ahead and just drag it and then just put it in there. There you go. Just like that. So we basically have a duplication. So to make things a little differently though, let's go ahead and rearrange some things in our first scene. Let's go ahead and let's get rid of that one by deactivating it and closing it. Now in this one, I'm just going to go ahead. I'll keep the coins and the ghosts, but I'm going to go ahead and put the rocks in different locations. Let's just add a different couple rocks here and here, here and here. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's set. The only thing we got to change though, of course, is the door down because we need a way to come back up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and disable this one and re-enable this one. All right, now we have a door going down again, but we actually want a door going up this time. So let's go ahead and find our art. Let's replace this one with the open door. I'm going to use this one here, or we could do this one. Let's go ahead, drag and drop it. There we go. And then all we got to do to change it and just go right over to the script and enable the door up. Now we might have to drag and drop these script components. Remember, they're all coming from either the player or the main screen manager. So let's go ahead, drag and drop main screen manager. Then let's go ahead, find the player in the current screen. There we go. Let's do the same thing for the other one. I'm going to disable this. I'm going to go ahead, go over here, re-enable it. Let's click on the door, scroll down. Now remember, this is going down, so we don't need to click that. Let's go ahead and find the scene manager, drag and drop it. Go ahead now and find the player. There it is. Let's drag and drop that now as well. Awesome. All right, so far so good. I'm going to close that up. Let's go ahead and hit play. Let's see if it works. All right, we have the ghost guy. Let's finish him off. Or if he gets stuck, it's whatever. All right, now let's go down. Now it looks like it did put us in the other direction, and that's not good. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. And it might be the location. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's go ahead and disable this real quick and re-enable. So it didn't send us to the right one. We might have mixed up something in the main script. So let's go ahead and go to the main script. So let's go back to the door first and make sure where we're going. Where is the door script? Here we go. All right, remember if door equals true, then we're going to go ahead and add one. Then we're going to go ahead and minus one. Oh, you know what we didn't do? Let's go ahead and go to the screen manager. I think we just mixed up these two here. Because remember, we have to reset these. So scene 0 is true, and if it equals 1, then it's going to be equal false. Okay, let's see. If we go back to here, if it equals true. Yeah, we have to change this. All right, so let's go ahead and change that to minus minus. Change this to plus plus. Awesome. Save that. And another thing we should do, because we clearly were spawning in the wrong spot, let's go to the top down script and let's go ahead and lower the transform. So let's go ahead and this is the X value, right? Yep, let's make that a lot less. Let's just do a 2. Save that. Make sure we saved everything in each script. I think we did. Awesome. Let's go ahead, jump back into the game. Let that load. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. All right. We'll fix that ghosting later. Let's go ahead and make sure the doors work. And there we go. Now we're in the next one. And we should be able to go back just by going in the door again. And there we go. Awesome. Now the doors work. Perfect. Alrighty. So that's it for this section. I'll see you in the next one. Alright. So this is going to be the final cleanup for the video set. Let's go ahead now and jump right in. So a couple things I noticed. One is the ghost guy seems to fly out of the map sometimes if we knock him back too close to the wall. And on top of that, I just think the scaling of our walls are too small, which might be the cost of that, but also our rendering is getting messed up. So to fix that, let's go ahead and jump right in to the map that we have and increase each block of these little box cutters we have around the map. Let's go ahead and find that. If you remember, we should have labeled it. So go ahead, scroll on down to your map items. Let's go ahead and find the one with the box collider. There we go. Let's go ahead and increase the box borders of each one. Simply enough, we can just do the ones on the far. So let's go ahead, add that one there, add that one there, add that one there, and then lastly, let's go ahead and add that one there. Awesome. All right. The other thing, of course, I think the knockback is a little too far for the ghost guy. So let's go ahead and fix that up. Let's click on the ghost. Let's go ahead and change that. So we should do that in the screen, I think. So let's go ahead, jump right in. All right, let's go move down. I think we set it to something like 200. So let's go ahead and do maybe 150 instead of 200. And that might be a little better. Awesome. Go ahead and save that, Control S. All right. Now, of course, we need to extend the map borders as well on the other scene because we just duplicated them. So go ahead, close up scene 0. I'm going to disable it as well. I'm going to click on scene 1 again, open it up, drop it down. Let's go ahead and find the map items. Let's go ahead and find the borders as well. There we go. Let's go ahead and then just increase each back end of the border. There we go. And there we go. Awesome. All right, so far so good. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out again. Close out the top one. I'm going to turn this one off and turn this one on. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and hit play. See how things are working out. All right, we got our little ghost guy. And look, now he's not flying out of the screen, which is good. Let's go ahead and try it again when he's close up to it. All right. And there you go. See, he's not flying out, even though he's still getting that knockback. Awesome. Let's go ahead and check it in the other screen. There we go. All right. I like it. He's not flying out. Perfect. All right. So far, so good. Congratulations if you made it this far. You've done a good job. I will see you next time.